This is an intro. Who needs an intro? I don't need an intro. This is just a vape show. It's just a vape show. Vape show. This is an intro. Who needs an intro? I don't need an intro. This is just a vape show. It's just a vape show. Vape show.
YouTube, what is up? I'm your homeboy Josh, back at you, and today we're taking a look at the Limitless Box Mod, and we're also taking a look at the Glacier V3. Both of them sent on over free for the purposes of this review from thecloudyvapor.com. But before we get into this review, I do want to take the time to remind you that we all have a part to play in the fight against Big Pharma, Big Tobacco, the FDA, and the deeming regulations that are looming over our heads. That means that if you're on social media, remember to paint the best possible image of the vape community that you can. If you're a shop or a shop owner, take the time to remind your customers that they need to get into this fight if they want to keep vaping alive. And support all your calls to action, including those to support HR 2058 and the Cole Bishop Amendment. We all have a part to play. Also worth noting is when you make a purchase at thecloudyvapor.com, $1.77 from every sale goes to CASAA. And he only sells products from American companies. Pretty decent devices, gotta say. Now, the box mod itself, it's gonna be kind of a mixed bag here. There's gonna be some features here that you're gonna love, you're gonna hate. For instance, the shape, the body of the device. It's a little bit cumbersome to hold, I'm not gonna lie. It's a little strange to hold in the hand. It's got very sharp corners, it's chunky, and it's got these little slants here and there, and the fire button's in kind of a weird place. I kind of like to rest my pointer finger up here and then hit the fire button with my middle finger. I like it. I've come to like it for several reasons. And for one thing, it's beefy. You know me, I like a beefy device. I really do. The Glacier V3 is a 23mm device and sits on this Limitless Box Mod with a little bit of room to spare. What's a little weird about it is the 510 connection on the box. It's not 22mm. It's smaller than 22mm. Weird size to that 510. It's just quirky. It's a quirky thing, you know? But I haven't had any issue with the finish marring, and I've been using this thing for about 3-4 weeks. I mean, it's long overdue, this review. It hasn't marred whatsoever. That's just juice on the top of it. Great logos. I mean, it's logo-tastic. Okay, it's logo overload. I mean, you've got Limitless, triangle, Adidas looking symbol over here. You've got it on both sides too, and this is actually different lids. You can buy different lids for this thing, and they're interchangeable. It came with a pair of red ones, but I've just been rocking these green ones, and I've been loving them. But I will say they don't really weather so well. There are a bunch of scratches all over this thing, so they're not the most scratch-resistant material. Just something to keep in mind with these. It doesn't look that bad if you're looking right at it, but don't put it in a pocket with your keys. But when you first get it, they look beautiful. One of the funnest parts of this device is when you get it, you get to go peel off these little tabs. And the door. Yeah. Fresh and shiny. Same thing with the back too. Not a scratch on it. One thing I will say is that Juice absolutely loves to collect and pool in this area right here. It doesn't happen quite as much on the battery side, but it does happen on the battery side too. It's got this mirror sort of finish on the display. You can't see the display until you activate it. And then it's really easy to read. I really like the way that it works with the battery meter. That's my favorite part about it is the battery meter. It runs along the bottom of it and it just sort of degrades little by little as you go through the battery. It resembles the battery in terms of bars. And it breaks them up into about 10 bars across the menu system, and I just like that layout for some reason. Now it's got 3 different power modes. You activate the power mode by clicking the down button, and then it starts blinking for the mode. And to adjust it, you hit the up button or the down button. And you've got a soft mode, which is basically just a very slow ramp up to whatever wattage you have set. And it's got a standard mode, and it's also got a power mode, which basically just has no ramp up. It just goes straight to 90 watts, for example. And then to adjust the wattage, you hit the up button, and you've got 3 settings. You've got M3, M1, M2. Those are presets, basically. Now, that's where this device and I don't really get along so well. I don't like presets. They just kind of annoy me. So basically what you're doing here is you're activating the presets, and you know, as you adjust them, they're sort of saved in the system. So when you hit the wattage up button, you're really just moving to your presets. For instance, right now it's 47.2 is where I had the first preset, and then I flipped it up and now it's at 90 watts. Then I flip it again, it's at 105 watts. Now, what I'll usually do is I keep my presets somewhere between the first one, I'll bring it up to say 50 to 60 watts. And the second one, I'll bring it up from say 60 to 100 watts. And then I use the last preset for anything over 100 watts. Something like that. That's how I would use the presets. So when I get to the second preset, say I want to bring it up to 100 watts, it's at 90, then I'll hit the down button and it starts flashing. And then I'll bring it up and it adjusts in 0.1 watt increments. Then you hit the power button to anchor it there. So it's at 100 watts now. That works great. 3 clicks locks the device, 3 clicks unlocks it. You've also got other modes here. You hit the menu button 5 times. You've got power off. If you click up or down here, it'll power the device off. Power button again, you get into the power mode, and you can switch it to temp mode. And in temp mode, you can switch it to titanium, stainless steel, nickel, titanium, and back to stainless steel. And then you have options for your units, Celsius or Fahrenheit. And then you set your temperature. So you can set it anywhere from, and then when you're in temp mode, your presets act as your temperature. It looks like it has one preset 220, then 350, then 450. And then you can adjust from there as well. If you hit the down button when you're in temp mode, you can adjust your wattage, your ramp up to that temperature. That's how that works. I don't like temperature control. I stay away from it. I'm not a big temperature control kid. You know, I don't use it. This is for you guys that like temperature control, so I can tell you how it works. Hit it again, and you can also set the rotation. So basically it's left or right mode. And you can exit the menu. I usually have it in wattage mode. I either keep the setting to power or standard for the ramp up. I like the power mode a lot, honestly, because it's very consistent. There's no ramp up to it. It's very consistent. The soft mode, I really haven't messed with. Soft isn't really my speed. And standard, I've noticed that the way the chip is behaving more in the standard mode. I'm not as big of a fan of it. Like, I can feel the way that it's, you know, it doesn't feel like a consistent vape. Power mode is just power all the time, and I can account for that. When it's in the standard mode, it's like it'll be strong, then it'll be weak, then it'll be strong, then it'll be weak. It doesn't feel like a consistent vape, so I like it in the power mode the best. But it's a good, powerful box. It goes all the way on up to, I want to say it's a 200 watt box mod. I've never turned it up that high. And I've got a 0.3 ohm coil in here. Snake coil, actually. And I guess we're gonna hit this coil with 200 watts. Why not? I can handle it. The Glacier V3. The Glacier V3 is okay. It's pretty okay. The thing about it is that it's not the easiest to adjust the airflow, if you ask me. You kind of have to pop it in, settle it in there, and it's just kind of difficult to turn. You know, the tolerances on the O-ring top, it's a single O-ring at the top, and the tolerances are very strong, and I've yet to break them in. It's just, it's hard to adjust. But it's got 32 airflow holes in here. It's sort of like in a sort of cyclonic sort of design from what I can see, and it's got big holes at the bottom and smaller holes up toward the top, and it's got sort of a, you know, kind of like the Mutation X kind of thing going on. It's got that cyclonic sort of design. I usually keep it about a quarter of the way closed off, just close off one set of those air holes, position them right in front of the coils. It's a mighty tasty vape. The way that I wick this is just like I'd wick an RDA. Wicking holes, I just felt looking at them that they were a bit too narrow for the sort of chunky kind of wick that I usually like to use. Just use the deck as I would normally use any other deck, tucking the cotton to the sides, tucking to the cotton so they're out of the way underneath the coils, and using it as, well, as a dripper tank. You know, turning it over, letting it saturate the coils, right-siding it up again, and vaping. I just kind of turn it for a second or two. I see a bubble or two come up, and then I write it. But it's a cloudy, flavorful addition to the sort of Genesis-style atomizers that are coming to the market as rebuildable dripping tank atomizers. And it's a standard in that way. It works pretty well for what it is. I like it. I gotta say, that box at 200 watts, now it's probably not an actual 200 watts being a dual 18650, mind you. It hits like a fucking train in the power mode at 200 watts. Now the thing about the deck on this thing, I believe that the middle hole is actually supposed to be the juice fill hole. Filling it on up is
pretty easy. It's not as easy as something with like a latch to it. I just kind of push the cotton out of the way and just drip it on down in there, push it back into place with the tip of whatever I dripped on in there, but it does the trick. So I just use it as, you know, more juice flow to my coils, and that's why I think I can saturate the coils so easily with this. It's so easy to saturate the coils. It's like just a quick turn like that and back over. It's so fast to saturate them, which is one thing that I like a lot about the Glacier. My favorite feature is probably that it's got those 3 holes there on the deck on either side, because it makes it really easy and efficient to juice my coils quickly, very quickly. It's just a quick 1, 2, that's it. Like 1.5 second turn and they're saturated. Takes nothing to saturate those coils. Some of the other dripper tanks that I use in that fashion, where I treat them like a dripper and just do that, now I gotta hold it a little longer with some of them. This one is just a 1.5 second turn and everything's saturated again. That's one thing I really like about using the Glacier V3 in that fashion, and what I like about it over a lot of the other dripper tanks that I've tried. I like how fast it juices the coils, down to 100 watts again. It's a good vape. Anyway guys, that's the Limitless Box Mod and the Glacier V3. You can pick them both up at thecloudyvapor.com. And if you use the affiliate link in the description, I get a 7% commission on your purchase, and it helps support the channel. I really appreciate that. Until next time, I'm your homeboy Josh. Vape on, Vapers.